Alright guys, it is little over 80 hours at the time of recording until the Premier League season starts for Crystal Palace v Arsenal on Friday, and I wanted to make a video about who to expect to have a bit of a breakout campaign in the Premier League, have a first season where they become, very good in the Premier League. So I'm going to start with a few obvious names. So Erling Harland is an obvious one. I think pretty much everyone expects him to do well at Manchester City in the upcoming season because he's done so well at Dortmund and Salzburg so far in his career. So I think, it's to be expected that he's going to have a good season. Brennan Johnson had a very good campaign in the Championship for Nottingham Forest last season, and he's come up to the Premier League with them, and I think as well everyone's expecting him to have a very good season, and it is going to be a very exciting season for Nottingham Forest because they've got quite a new squad. A lot of the players that helped them get promoted last season are no longer there because they either left, like the goalkeeper Brice Samba, or were only on loan in the first place, so have gone back to their parent clubs. And then I've also put down Fabio Carvalho, who, similar to Brennan Johnson, had a very good season in the Championship last year with Fulham, but is now has joined Liverpool and has got a lot of minutes in pre-season and played really well in pre-season, probably one of Liverpool's standout players, and also made his competitive debut in the Community Shield on Saturday. So he could be one to watch this season for Liverpool. I wouldn't expect him to be a starter straight away, but I think throughout the course of the season, he will rack up a lot of appearances, and I think he will impress. Definitely one for the future. And then I've also put down Julian Alvarez for Manchester City as well. He has had a few seasons now at River Plate, and last season was absolutely prolific, scoring over 20 goals, and just doing really well. And he, even when he came on against Liverpool on Saturday, he really impressed and scored his first goal for Manchester City. And I'm pretty sure the Manchester City fans quite liked his celebration. Obviously, I don't know if that's a celebration he does all the time, but he did this, and obviously, who used to do that for Manchester City a fair bit. There are a few of the obvious names, and I've also picked 5 more players that I feel could be a bit of a gamble. It's not really 100% certain if they will, have a great season, but I think there's a good chance they will. So first of all, this one is very dependent on how much game time Pep Guardiola gives this player, and that is Cole Palmer. Whenever I've seen Cole Palmer play, I've always been very impressed with him. I think he's a very talented player, and I remember watching him in a game against I think it was Swindon in the FA Cup last season, and he had a superb game and scored an absolutely brilliant goal. I find him quite a similar playing style to Riyad Mahrez, very, very elegant, and always looks to cut the ball back onto his left foot from the right wing. So I think he will be a very good player. It's just whether Pep looks to do what he did with Phil Foden and very slowly give him more game time season upon season until he becomes what Foden is now. And Foden is like an integral player for Manchester City, plays in pretty much every game, whether he's a starter or not. And then I've also gone with Levi Colwill. Now, he had a really good season for Huddersfield last season in the Championship. There's quite a few players who played in the Championship last season who've been promoted to the Premier League. Well, not with the team they were in the Championship always, but for Brennan Johnson, that's the case. But they might have gone back to their parent club or joined a new club in the Premier League. So Levi Colwill, again, it's a question of how many minutes is he going to get, because Chelsea have just signed Kalidou Koulibaly to replace Antonio Rudiger. They've still got Thiago Silva, still got Azpilicueta at the moment, and they are supposedly in talks to sign another centre-back, rumoured to be Wesley Fofana. So he probably won't be a starter straight away, Colwill, but I think if he gets game time, he will impress, because he was one of the best defenders in the Championship last season, arguably the best. I do think, though, with how Malang Sarr really didn't seem to play well last season for Chelsea in the minutes he did get, I think there is sort of a spot as one of the backups available for Colwill, so that could be where he first starts to show his ability at centre-back. And then I've gone with Southampton's new signing from Manchester City in Romeo Lavia. He hasn't actually had any minutes, as far as I know, in the Premier League yet. I think he's played a few cup games for Manchester City, but in what I've seen of him, I think he's a very good player. He's played for Southampton in pre-season and should get a chance in midfield. Whether he starts first game of the season, I don't know, but I think he will get a lot of minutes throughout this season, alongside maybe James Ward-Prowse. He's probably going to be fighting with Oriol Romeo, not literally, of course, but for that central defensive midfield role. Well, they play a 4-4-2, Southampton, don't they? But Romeo usually is more the defensive-minded one out of him and Ward-Prowse, so that might be where Lavia comes into it. And then I've also gone with Nico Williams. Now, Nico Williams has had a lot of game time for Liverpool over the course of the past 2 years. Well, I say a lot, I mean, like, in not the big games. He's been Trent Alexander-Arnold's backup, basically. And he played the final 6 months of last season on loan for Fulham in the Championship, and did really well and impressed massively, and just did really well for Fulham and helped get them promoted. However, he has joined Nottingham Forest on from Liverpool permanently this summer. So he's joining a sort of I don't want to dump both of them straight into it, but like a relegation rival of Fulham, basically. That's both teams. The aim for this season, Fulham and Nottingham Forest, is to survive. That goes without saying. So effectively, they are relegation rivals. So yeah, I think he's one to look out for. I think the role he's likely to play for Nottingham Forest this season will suit him more than the one he played at Liverpool and Fulham. Because they play a three at the back system, and wing back, that's where he plays for Wales, and most of his best performances in his career so far, I think, have come in a Wales shirt, so that should be exciting to watch. So Nico Williams is definitely one to look out for in the opening weeks of the season, because I think he will be a starter as well, especially with Jed Spence no longer at Nottingham Forest. And then my final pick on my shortlist is Luis Sinisterra for Leeds, who has joined from PSV in the summer for around 20 to 25 million. Had a brilliant season for PSV last season. His goal contribution output was ridiculous, and I think he might have hit the 30 goal mark last season. So the fact that Leeds have managed to somehow sign him is incredible, really. And I just think he's going to have a superb season for Leeds, and I'm excited to see him play. So, yeah, that's my short list. I'll put all the names I mentioned down here, and yeah, these are the players who I think could be in for a very exciting season in the Premier League, like their first season where they properly have a solid season, basically, in the Premier League. Obviously, Erling Harland's already had many a good season in his career, but not in the Premier League. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.